kids' school means to me that persons try their best. I mean, we could talk about adults, but this is the kids' story here. That kids try their best, and they can't give any more necessarily, but they're not to be judged by how well they fit into a system. They're evaluated by their effort. So that's what it means, that I see kids working harder than ever. They have jobs, they have family situations which bleed out into other situations, and it's really easy to say that, you know, kids aren't working hard when no one has to take a look at their life. And I think that if anyone were to evaluate your average kid's life, I think that they would see that kids are working as hard as they ever have, if not harder. And that's what this movie is trying to do, is take a look at effort, at young effort today, and to say, you know what, I think kids are working hard. I think standards are high enough already. I think everyone should just get a big pat on the back. I think that, you know, to raise standards or to play, or to, you know, to put more pressure on kids who are already doing the very best they can is just absurd. It's not going to get any more out of them. They're doing the best they can. There's no reason why anybody wouldn't do the best he could. I mean, everyone wants to do his best. It's just some are unable to. And once they're unable to, they either A, find sympathy from someone and keep on trying, or they have no sympathy from anybody and then they give up. They snap, they break, they're gone. So it's kind of a look at education and a look at contemporary juveniles and just saying, you know, your kid's all right.
No.
Yeah, as a sympathetic character, we see that you know, he has an abusive father, and this is not to judge the father because we don't know his story yet, and perhaps, you know, one day we'll have a chance to know the father's story. But as to Adrian's story, he has an abusive father. He has a very self-centered girlfriend. He arrives to school. He's slightly late, but, you know, it's not as if he's really interrupting the class. So he gets tagged on a technicality. The vice principal dismisses him. This is a working class kid who wants to do nothing else but work. And that's okay, but there seems to be some idea today that you have to be you know, a high school graduate or a college graduate, or you're not okay, and that to be someone who works for a living, someone who's not an academic, is not okay. I don't know how this idea came about, but so we see this kid who's a decent kid, who wants to be part of the social system, not being allowed to be part of the social system, and it's sickening is what it is. He wants to do his part, but he has to do it as he is. He can't be something he's not, and for one reason or another, things are not working out academically. Maybe it's because of his dad, maybe it's because of who he is naturally, but he's not an academic, but he is a worker. And, you know, what's wrong with that? It's just sickening is what it is. I think that even little scenes like the father's scene in the police car with the police supervisor, where he says, you know, I don't understand where I went wrong. It's such a simple thing, but it was a beautiful moment, and it was one of those moments which said, all the time and money in the world is meaningless if it's not for art, if it's not for what's beautiful. That's what everybody's striving for, and what do you do once you already have it? You try to do it again, and maybe it's impossible, but you know on your deathbed that you made something beautiful, and you were generous toward it, and you weren't, you know, you did it. You weren't cheap, you weren't false, you were sincere, and you put everything forward, and it was a huge gamble, but boy, it was worth it for a couple moments. It's like, you know, those moments in the making of this movie were their own little weddings. They were little beautiful unions, and they'll last forever, because you have it in your memory. And maybe the film captured it, maybe it didn't, but You did your part. And boy, what a relief that is. And if every character in the movie would do his part, then Adrian wouldn't even be in the trouble he's in. Because he's doing his part, and that's the point of the movie.